Got a treat for you today. No, that's not a supermodel. That's my friend. Well, actually, do you moonlight as a supermodel?
Only on the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not Marilyn Monroe. That's Rebekah Clayton. So everyone meet Rebekah.
Oh,
Talk about all that embodies entrepreneurship. And my entrepreneurial journey has been like in tandem with Rebekah's entrepreneurial journey, both like experiential, like we both have similar backgrounds in financial services marketing, and then both like branched out into like things that we're passionate about, but then always be like, oh, but this is cool, but this is cool, but this is cool here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm okay. And then we call each other and be like, oh my God, I had an epiphany today. Oh my God, but what if I do this when I grow up? But what if I do this? You're amazing. I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad day too.
all of it.
So
all of it.
That was a really accurate representation of our friendship and entrepreneurship. Wow. I should be like a puppeteer or something. I wish I had like Syphil and Ollie, if anyone remembers that show from like the 90s. Anyway, they were sock puppets. So
you can get your own versions.
I should. But then my show would get real weird real fast.
I think that's great. I'm down for it.
And guys, you need a person like this in your corner who's like, oh yeah, I fully support you. I love that. Who's like, should I start a puppet show business? Yes.
Yes. It's a yes from me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Truly, yeah. I believe in you. So.
And I believe in you. And look at us. Okay. So
look at us.
It's
been like what? How long since we've been on our little journey, our entrepreneurial journey?
A couple years now.
Like 2 years now. The time 2020 just seemed like 10 years or 5 minutes, or it's hard to tell the time, but it's been multiple years now.
It's been like 100, but like 5 minutes at the same time.
Accurate. Also entrepreneurship.
Cheers to that. So we'll start easy.
Cheers.
How about just some details to get us oriented? Who are you? Where do you live? What makes you happy? We're not talking about business yet. We're talking about Rebekah right now.
Okay. Who am I? Wow. Where do you start on that one?
Yeah.
Most importantly, I am a cat mother. I have Pearl, who you might see roaming around in the back, or she might meow. So that's really important to me. I have my own business, which is really cool to say. I have a lot of irons in the fire. Like Jade said, like we're constantly like, what about this? What about this? I am trying this thing out called finishing something. I'll let you know how that goes. Stay tuned. Yeah. So I do photography. I have a trauma support specialist certification. I do some mentorship and coaching and education with some clients. I teach a couple of classes online. English to students in China, and I nanny during the day for the two most beautiful babies ever, one of which is my youngest niece. So that's fun. What makes me happy? Jade. Full stop. No, let's see. The Pop-Tart I just ate, having like an option of a variety of flavors of something, or like a bento box, where it's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like apps. That makes me happy. Truly though, Jade, like processing, doing life, all the different things, like, and we are both very fortunate to have multiple people in our lives that are like that. So like my people that are around me make me happy, and I make myself happy, like consciously all the time, intentionally. So
that was a really good answer.
Thank you.
I had an epiphany while you were talking. I realized that all of your talents have to do with a way that you view the world.
Ooh.
Like you photograph the world and the people in it. You coach people to help them view the world and themselves in it. You teach and you help people build themselves up in it. It's crazy.
That's a great observation. I love that.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. My company is called At Your Best, and then I have At Your Best Photo. And that came from the book, The Four Agreements. The last one is always do your best. Your best is going to look different every day. So yeah, I always try to do my best, and I help others feel at their best, look at their best. If you've seen any of the gorgeous photos of Jade, like that she uses on here,
My
that's
Facebook
me.
profile. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
any
that's
professional
me.
photo you've seen of me,
But
Rebekah took.
she makes it very easy, obviously, and it's super fun. If you could be a fly on the wall observing us taking pictures together, it goes a little something like this. Me behind the camera, click, looks back, oh my god, and I just freak out, and then she starts laughing, and then I take more pictures, and that just happens for like an hour. So it's lots of fun.
One time our friend Heather took a picture of Rebekah and me, and she was like, just trust me. And she kept taking live photos walking towards us. And so there's like a series of like moving images of us like holding each other. Like,
it was a technique that I had never seen before. So shout out Heather, because
that's because you're used to like professional equipment. She's like, I'm gonna crush this live photo.
Yeah, it was great. We love all the pictures.
That was beautiful. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, props to Heather. Nailed it.
Yeah.
So let's professionally.
Yeah.
What are you awesome at? Like, why you?
Wow. I just had an epiphany because I realized you were like not professionally for that first question, and I said all professional things.
But your introduction to you was actually really well-rounded. I mean, from pop to cat. So I mean, we're just kind of bleeding into the next as we go.
My relationship with my inner critic is like on the forefront right now, because
she's a little rough on you.
Yeah. So she needs to chill out. What was that second question again? Professionally, why you? Why me? Mm-hmm. Ooh, because everything that I preach or teach or talk about, I have lived the experience and I'm currently like going through it. So I have like the ability to pull back and see the big picture, and like the bird's eye view, but then also come in really close on the details. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm here for all of it. Like the good, the bad, the ugly, the exciting, the heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of the dark anymore.
Yeah. You're both an educator and an empathizer at the same time. It's, and not many people can walk that line as beautifully as you do. Yeah. Fun factoid about Rebekah. She is childhood friends with Donald Miller's wife.
Yes, I am. We were on the swim team together, Betsy and Mary Ann, her sister, and then our dads both sold insurance at the same company back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. So yeah.
And we're all fans. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yes. Donald Miller's work, specifically the story brand stuff, I am a huge fan of and have used in financial services. And then also now today, I do sometimes a little marketing consulting on the side too. Here and there.
Like what don't you do? Yeah. I think the list would be shorter of the things you don't do. I love it.
Yeah.
So,
my children's books too. Working on those.
And I'm going to write the soundtrack.
That's what I'm finishing. Yeah.
Eleanor the Dinosaur. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
We could do this all day. I love it.
And we do.
And we do. Next question.
Yes.
Since you are a 2-ish-year-old, and let me tell you, I have toddlers. 2 is rough. Mm-hmm. It's when you really start to figure out your emotions. Mm-hmm. You know, what would you tell yourself 2 years ago that you know now?
What would I tell myself 2 years ago that I know now? You don't have to explain yourself to people. Like say less. Type it out maybe, but don't press send. Like shut your mouth, shut your lips and learn. So that might be the main thing. And that's a Robinism. Shout out Robin.
Yeah. Yeah. You have awesome friends.
Yeah. Lots of, I could say a lot of things, but that might be the first one. Like
That's
drink more
huge.
water, you know?
Okay, what about business? What would you tell
Oh,
2 years ago?
but like for
Rebekah about
business, still like same for business, because like if I am my business a little bit, you know, like as an entrepreneur. And so
Mhm.
the more hydrated I am, the more healthy I am, the more I go with the flow as an entrepreneur. And it's just like this cool, this all right. And because there's, you know, it all changes. So
Mhm.
yeah, just keep going with the flow, riding the waves.
Mhm. So I feel like I should know this answer better, but like the beginning of our, like the blossoming of our best friendship, because we've known each other for a
Mhm.
long time, but like the blossoming of our best friendship, I would like to say,
Mhm.
was like a pivoting point for both of us jumping into entrepreneurship among like crazy things happening in our lives. Um,
Mhm.
let's talk more about like what was your breaking point? At one point, did you decide to leave your dad's firm, you know, a well-established business, solid income, and you were like, I'm going to do this for myself now? What tell me what helped you make that decision?
Mm, that's a good question. And I think it's also tied to another thing I would tell myself 2 years ago that reached a culmination in some ways right before I left the business, was like to get out of your own way. So I think I decided that I was ready to do like essentially be my own boss, you know, and like that I was ready to take the risks of feeling all the things that like I knew it would be a different kind of stress. But I think my breaking point had a lot to do around feeling a peace around that I hadn't felt before. Like I was just like,
Huh.
it was like an inner, like I was just like, now's the time, you know, when you just have like that inner knowing where you can feel it in your body. I felt it in my body. And that doesn't mean that I wasn't still like a little afraid or scared, but
Mhm.
I was ready for an adventure and to like go into the unknown and to say that I did it, me.
Mhm. And you're so good at it.
Thank you.
And I love when you tell yourself that, and I love when you can't and I can help too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
so amazing to have a person like that in your life that can just like remind you and mirror back to you encouraging things in those moments.
yeah, if
Man.
you don't have cheerleaders in your life, dude, you're missing out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So much so.
Yeah. I got a membership for
Yes.
that.
The phrase "you're doing great" has been like a lighthouse in the entrepreneurial
Mhm.
storm.
Well, here's why I do this show. Um, I don't think enough people talk about the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. You know, like
Mm.
not only am I in the entrepreneurial community, but I'm in the marketing community. So there's a lot of like opinions and
Mm.
strategies and try this. And I feel like it's the same in any industry too. Like, you know, follow this guru and do that and not many people stand up and they're like, it's really hard. And some
Mm.
days you're going to hate yourself, and some days you're going to fail and start over, and some days, I'm going to say this out loud, some days I don't think I'm doing great, and I literally like that. I think that's my number one skill, is like lifting other people up.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can't lift myself up, and I think without the security of a 9 to 5, it's your business, it's not your risk, it's someone
Mm-hmm.
else's risk. You go to work every day, you put your head down, you clock in, you clock out, you do your job, and you get paid and nothing changes.
Yeah.
It's it's just like an added like level of volatility in your life, where it could go up, it could go down, it could be you never know what to expect. um Even in one day,
Mm-hmm.
even
Yeah.
one day you can have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and I don't think enough people talk about that. But I don't think enough people, and additionally, I don't think enough people have people like you where they can just call and be like, I think I'm a failure, I'm having a horrible day, I just really need to talk about how hard this is, and have someone on the other end who's an entrepreneur and can empathize and be like, You're
Mhm.
amazing. You're so beautiful. It hurts. And I'm like, no, you're so beautiful.
My eyes.
It hurts.
Yeah, I feel like it's the fear of failure. And I've learned so much from Brooke Castillo, who's a life coach and has a life coach school. And she talks about how like you want to be failing a lot and like congratulations for your failure. And I think that's something like you said, like we're not talking about the failures because of like the shame attached to it, where you just said like, I feel like I'm a failure, and that separation of like, okay, this thing failed or may, you know, but I am a different entity, right? Or like kind of pulling those apart, I feel like is such an important viewpoint that sometimes, like you said, we can't give ourselves in those moments, you know, like, and having that other person to be like, hey, guess what? You put yourself out there, you did, what did you learn from this? You know, like just kind of to not only do the like, I love you so much, you're beautiful, but also like challenge each other, you know, in a way that helps us get a different perspective on the failure, I think is like where you come in majorly for me.
I was just going to say, you excel at that.
Yeah,
So
no,
normally,
you.
no, you. So normally at this point in the interview, I would ask like, what are some like tips and tricks and hacks? But if it's okay with you, I would like to share some things that I've learned from you,
Okay.
like as a follower and a fan and a super fan and a groupie and a lover and a fighter of all
Yes.
things and a champion of all things you do.
Yes.
I have like a pile of nuggets that I could share. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody was one of the first things you taught me, and it literally took the weight of a house off of my shoulders, and was like,
Yeah, I remember that. Like physically seeing it lift off of you.
it was intense.
It was powerful. Yeah.
And you also just reminded me of, here's another Rebekah-ism, or you probably learned it from someone else, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's my preface for this is like
Mhm.
all of the things that I pass on have been taught to me, and that I've like learned those lessons falling on my face time and time again.
Yeah, like guys, I invented marketing,
Right.
so listen to me, okay?
No, like the mentors, but then the people who are like mentors, but also in it with you, you know, it's like, anyways,
Totes.
continue.
Oh, another Rebekah-ism. No BS. No blame and shame.
Yeah.
And that's really hard.
Yeah.
You know, if you're, because I mean, let's be honest, the person who shames and blames ourselves the most is ourselves.
Yeah.
And so
that inner critic I mentioned before,
it's rough.
you know.
So a coping skill I learned from, you guessed it, Rebekah. I have a bunch of those too. Because as Rebekah mentioned, she has a trauma certification. And so whenever stuff from my past like boils up in me, instead of like stuffing it down, I go to her. I literally, I'm like, can I pay you? She's like, girl, let's light some candles, let's breathe. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, I'm not going to divulge all the secrets because y'all got to pay for that.
Yes.
But one thing right now I have on my refrigerator, because I've been stressed out lately, you know, when you're feeling horrible and you always say, I am, or like, I suck, I'm a horrible person, I'm a failure, all of those things. If you replace the word I am with I experience, that like kind of pulls in like the temporary nature of like how life and everything goes. So like the other day I was feeling horrible and then I got my period. So I'm fine now.
It happens.
It happens. And I was just like crying, like I'm a horrible person. And then I like walked by a refrigerator and I was like, I feel horrible. I feel horrible. I'm not going to define myself by this horrible feeling that I have right now.
Yeah, because our feelings are visitors, like the weather, right? That's a big one.
Oh, I like that. It's like the weather. Sometimes it sucks, but most of the time it's just pretty cool.
Well, for me, like in general, but then specifically when it comes to running my own business, working for myself, the mental health, like the feelings of depression, anxiety, panic, stress, like being able to shift my language through like observing. And it's not that I don't ever say that I am followed by something that I don't want in my life or to be my all the time. It's the observing it, right? And then like reframing it, flipping it, you know, and detaching myself from saying like, I am a failure. I am anxious to, I feel like this was a failure. I feel like I failed. I feel really anxious. Major, like you said, the weight lifted off of you when that becomes like a habit is so huge. So that would be a big thing to pass on, like I said. And being the observer of blame and shame. That's something that I got from a coach that I worked with for a while that helped me to become aware of feeling things in my body. Like a somatic approach to coaching, I think is really helpful for entrepreneurs, because we don't want to feel like humans don't want to feel the uncomfortable feelings. But like you said, when we stuff them down, then we don't get to choose when we feel them. Sometimes they just explode out. So that's something that I've been working on a lot, is, you know, letting yourself feel the stress or panic or, you know, like worry. But then like a sale comes in and you're like, woo! So it really is. Yeah.
Sometimes Rebekah calls me. Sometimes Rebekah calls me just to say, guess what? I'm doing great. Because like you just got a big sale, or like you're riding the high right now and you're like, I am awesome. And I'm like, I told you.
Yeah.
And I say it in that voice too. That was 100% accurate.
It's true.
Here's the question. I wasn't planning on asking this. This isn't like my generic question list, but I'd love your professional opinion on it.
Okay.
2 words. Tell me your thoughts. Imposter syndrome.
Ooh, juicy. Okay, this is one that I've danced with quite intimately. So I have come to learn and view imposter syndrome as a gift, as something kind of like the failure that I flip in the script on that. That like, if you have imposter syndrome, that's a really good sign, because the people who are imposters, who don't have ethics, who haven't earned, I was going to say don't deserve, but haven't earned to be doing what they're doing, do not feel imposter syndrome. So if you find yourself doubting yourself, you can look at that as something that, again, is not like tied to who you are. It can be a temporary feeling, and just kind of like stay curious about it. Like, I wonder why I feel like I don't deserve this client or this new position, or, you know, whatever, and just stay curious, ask questions, and don't be afraid to let yourself feel whatever you're feeling like as an imposter, you know, because I think it's a very like common thing, but I don't know that a ton of people talk about it. And I think another easy way to like smash imposter syndrome is like when you're thinking about all the people that are better than you, and like better than you, or like have come farther than you, or you're looking at, you know, whatever you can see portrayed outside, you know, but then just like turn around and look at all the people who are starting off, or who haven't even started, or who you can look, you know, like kind of with photography, it's so subjective. There's such a wide range. When I find myself looking at people's feeds that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll never, then I see some stuff and I'm like, wow, I am good. Like, I really have learned a lot and grown and, you know, like improved. So looking at the full spectrum of, you know, the journey can really help, I think, when you're feeling like, man, do I deserve to be where I'm at? And it's like, yeah, you do. You earn that.
Yeah, because you're there.
Yeah, exactly.
One time, I'll never forget this. Many years ago, I was insecure about something. I mean, I'm a human, and I got a fortune cookie that said, "The master at everything was once a beginner." And I was
Mm,
like, I
yeah.
mean, think about like what we're talking about, how that like relates to everything, how you open social media and you see beautiful pictures of, babies and friends and weddings and family and
Yeah.
I'm so, like just beautiful everything. And you don't see that like they're normal people and they cry, they break down, they have good days, they have bad days, just like you. They sucked at what they're good at one point before they got good. They had to try to be good at it. All of those things are so hard because we don't experience them. We only experience it for ourselves.
Yeah. No, I have to cough. Hold on. Excuse me. I was saying the babies that I watch have a little, a little of that. So I just stay with a little funk. I was saying the other day to my sister that I still miss focus or like mess up a lot during shoots, but no one would ever know that. And am I really messing up, or is it just a learning experience and kind of part, like you said, I'm human. It's part of the process, and I've learned to kind of look at those specifically pictures. You could fill in whatever it is that you're creating, working on, as instead of, when you've got the perfectionistic hat on, or like your inner critic's got their clipboard out and you're just like under the microscope, to look at it as something that's like a differentiating factor or something that could be seen in a new light. And I think that, man, I was just going to say, you help me do that all the time. Like when I think that something is one way, just having you there to give me the other perspective is so helpful. Sorry.
And
Continue.
and also like the bad days, I think, provide a really powerful foundation of empathy, so that when you're someday teaching or coaching or selling something to people, you have authority and empathy. And those two things combined are like,
they make you the guide.
Formula.
That's a Donald Miller. Yeah.
And it makes you a guide. A little bit of Don Miller. Big fan. He uses Keep, just saying.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We're learning something new.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome. It doesn't surprise me though.
Yeah. So of the 14 million businesses and things you're good at, if you are interested, if you live in the New Orleans area and would like some photos taken, or if you are an entrepreneur or even not an entrepreneur and want to work through your trauma and self-talk to feel better and run your businesses with more confidence, or if you want to chat about some marketing, or if you know some kids in China who want to learn English, or there's just too many. How do people reach you, look you up?
So you can find me on the interwebs in many places. Instagram at Your Best Photo, also on Facebook at Your Best Photo or Rebekah Clayton. And yeah, that's mainly where I hang out.
When you go on bouts of posting your shoots and whatnot, I just like glow with happiness. I will say of Rebekah's photography, she does like mostly like family lifestyle shoots, and then does a little bit of boudoir and a little bit of these things called expression sessions. So imagine, the With the Beatles album where it's like black in the background and then you can just see like their handsome white faces. There's Ringo on the bottom by himself for some reason. She does that with babies in like a photo booth type fashion, where it's like these little squares of like the little kids being like, but it's cuter.
It's the best. Yeah,
instead of like me looking like I'm having a seizure on a Zoom, but it is the cutest thing. You should totes follow her on Instagram, and it's amazing. So thank you for sharing with us. You're beautiful.
Thanks for
you're
having
smart,
me.
and you're amazing.
This This was my first podcast experience.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.